It's the Wex Appeal Podcast. Barbells, beats, and buffoonery.
3, 2, 1, go!
Here we go. Dope conversations.
Damn, that's my Genghis Khan.
Where fitness, pop culture, and a lot of random buffoonery collide.
I'm coming for you.
It's ridiculous, really,
Hashtag space war.
but amusing.
Wex, you laughed least at me, so you get to go next.
Here's your host, Wex.
I was gonna say I blacked out during the explanation. I just heard Spaceball.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Wex Appeal Podcast, and it is actually today, September 26th, 2023, when we're recording this episode. If you're watching it live or if you're watching it pre-recorded, today is a 3-year anniversary of the show. So we have been doing this for 3 years. This is episode 64 of interviews with people. So dope conversations with dope people. That's what we do. And here we are with another episode. Before we get into my guest and what we're going to do today, we are going to talk about sponsors. As you know, I'm on a journey right now with Thunderbro. Thunderbro is, Dave Lipson, and he has been a CrossFit level 4 instructor. He's been a personal trainer. He's been a professional baseball athlete. He's been a CrossFit Games athlete. The dude is fit, and he has developed a program called Thunderbro. I'm a huge fan. Just did, it's Tuesday, so it's Chesticle Tuesday. That's what we did today. So we did chest in the gym today and had quite a burner, but I'm down over 20 pounds now. After being on the program, we're doing it for 90 days. I'm just over the 2-month mark. So very excited about the results so far. And not only is it just, weight off the scale, but it's also body composition and eating cleaner. And even my wife said that when I eat clean, I don't snore, which is a plus for her. So good all around. If you want to get in with Thunderbro, it's THUNDRBRO.com, thunderbro.com. Check it out. You can hit all the links in bio and all those sorts of things. If you go on Instagram, and if you use the code WEXAPPEAL, we're going to be setting up I believe a free month of training or a free week of training. I'm not sure, but we are getting the details together with that. But you can also get the ebooks online for $9.99 right now. So get over to thunderbro.com and get on the Shred program with me and come look and feel your best. My other sponsor, the best way to wake up in the morning, especially when I'm traveling like I am today, I'm actually in a hotel room right now, is Strong Coffee. Strong Coffee is my absolute favorite way to wake up. It is instant. You can pop it in a cup of hot water, mix it up. Their new flavor, hazelnut mocha, is absolutely amazing. I love it. You can put it on a subscription, but if you use the code WEXAPPEAL for 10% off of your order, you get 10% off every time you order from Strong Coffee. So hook it up, strongcoffeecompany.com. Use code WEXAPPEAL. And also, if you do like the WEXAPPEAL promo code, you can also use that at Blackout Barbell, which is my go-to when I want some great gear to work out in. I love their shorts. I love their shirts. They've got a weightlifting belt. And you can go on blackoutbarbell.shop and use the code WEXAPPEAL to get 10% off your order there as well. And another thing that we're going to be doing, stay tuned to our Instagram because we are doing a giveaway, a huge package giveaway with Strong Coffee, Thunderbro, and Blackout Barbell all getting together, and we're going to pick a winner. You're going to go on Instagram, like all those pages, follow along, comment, share, do all those things, and we are going to pick a winner and send you a Strong Coffee, Blackout Barbell, Thunderbro gift pack all together. So stay tuned. That is coming very soon in celebration of the 3-year anniversary of the show. On the show today, I have a friend of mine who we have met through our travels in semifinals and the CrossFit Games and all those sorts of fun places that we go. And I'm going to bring her on the screen now, if I can find the right button. There she is.
Hi.
And I'm going to butcher the name. I already told you I would. Kelly Sekulvoski.
You nailed it.
Nailed it. There we go.
You nailed it. You set me up to believe you were going to botch it, but you nailed it.
I try. I try not to. And I'm pretty good about it because if I have to like DJ like 5Ks and all sorts of events and things like that, I get these names on the top 3 sheets that I'm like, I don't know, and I'll just throw it out there. And
I feel like if you have a complicated last name, you're kind of like I give people a bone. I'm like, it's okay. It's a toughie.
Well, Kelly, you are here today, and you are the co-founder of the Femme Fit Society.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you got a lot of things going on with that. And you are a CrossFit coach as well. And you are out in the community with the CrossFit Games. We met at semifinals, right? This past year in Orlando.
Yeah, I think we met in
so.
Orlando. I know that feels like so long ago, but it really wasn't.
I know. It was only in May.
Yeah, when you gave me candy.
I did. I actually, so that's a pattern apparently, because I gave you candy at the CrossFit Games as well.
Listen, that was the best surprise ever.
I still have the video. I need to post it.
I was like, did you even post it yet?
I've
been like holding on to this information. You have
So
to post the second one.
So here's the thing. So at the semifinals, so here's the difference. So at semifinals, I was going around. It was all indoors, and it was fine. I was fist bumping, giving candy, handing out candy. Well, as you know, the CrossFit Games, it was very hot. So I go out to an event. I watch the event, and I reach into my bag, and I pull out a Snickers, and it's just squishing.
Oh God!
And I'm like, I can't hand this to people. This is disgusting.
Candy.
all the chocolate that I had in my little fanny pouch that I was doing for fist bumps at semifinals, it was all just melted. Not the same candy from semifinals, like new candy.
We replaced the candy. Good.
We replaced the candy, but it was all melted, and it did not go over well at the games. So I did not get to do my little hand out candy, which was so much fun at semifinals. But I did get to hand you candy because we were joking about nerd clusters.
Those gummy clusters, man.
Gummy
Once you have
clusters.
them, you're done.
And I made a joke that they don't come in like individually packaged things. So I was just going to like give you a hand of gross gummy clusters, melty, sweaty gummy clusters. But I actually gave you a bag of gummy clusters. I'm going to post that after we post this.
You have to, because like, if you're looking for a reaction from somebody, like you just come to me, because it made my day.
Your reaction, which is exactly what you said in Orlando too. It was like it was perfect. So it was a lot of fun. But we were actually hanging out. Where were we? Big Dane?
I think so. Right, for the LSKD workout.
I was there for the HWPO.
I think
deadlift
we were like
class,
kind of passing
and then Sarah was coming in with Con Porter to do the LSKD workout. So
yeah,
you were there for that.
Yeah, when I conveniently was like getting a phone call. So one of my coworkers, she went and did the workout, and I was like, oh, important call. I gotta head outside real quick. She was doing like burpees over the dumbbell and like biking, and I was on the side on the phone, just like, you're doing great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could have been worse. She could have been paired with Carrie Pierce.
I mean, was that who you were paired with?
No.
Like,
but Carrie Pierce was there. She was there doing the workout.
Yeah, I did see
and
her.
somebody got paired up with her, and I'm like, oh, you poor person. Because and now let me preface that Carrie Pierce is the most amazing person in the entire world.
She's so sweet.
She's the sweetest person ever.
I'm pretty sure she's also from New Jersey, and so am I. So like,
yeah, she's up in that area.
That area.
but she's also insanely fit.
Oh,
and
watching
she's a
her
machine.
do any of the like, what was that one workout that they did? Was all the strict handstand push-ups, and when she beat all of the men in that body
Mary?
workout.
Yeah. Was it Mary? Yeah.
I think so. It was like just so cool to watch, and just watching a human machine.
Yeah, well, it was Mary, and then she did Atlanta the next year.
That one was
beat
crazy.
Everybody there as well, including Matt and Tia, which I mean they were on cruise control at that point.
But
still, I mean, she went and beat everybody. I mean, and she's an amazing athlete and an even more amazing person. She's just the absolute sweetest every time I've seen her and talked to her, and it was actually cool to bump into her at the event.
Has she been on your show before?
Yeah, she's actually been on twice. She came on once by herself, and then she came on with Alex and Ariel Owen.
Oh, awesome!
Before Wadapalooza last year, and this is actually where they got the name Humble Killers for Wadapalooza.
That's right.
We were joking around and we were talking. I'm like, you guys are the nicest people in the world, but you're also monsters. Like it's like you're these little humble killers, and they're like, we like that. I think we're going to name our team that. And
And
they
you were
did.
like, if you could put Cred's Wax Appeal at the bottom
I'll
of
get you
all
guys
your
shirts and you can wear them out of Wadapalooza,
Yeah, right.
Humble Killers sponsored by Wax Appeal,
Yeah. I'll give you guys Nerds Gummy clusters in my bare hands throughout the
Yes.
event.
Yes, absolutely. But so Kelly, you are on the show today. I mean, we're sitting here talking about all the stuff that
I
we've
know, we're gonna get
done and hung
distracted.
out and talked to people, but let's talk about what you're doing, which I think is very important. But also as a guy, I have no idea how to even ask you questions about this.
Oh my God.
I forget who I was talking to, and I was like, I'm like, you were on the Kettlebells and Cocktails with Nikki. I'm like,
Yeah.
it was such a great interview because Nikki's a woman and she knows what to ask. And I'm like, I'm a dude and I have no idea. Like, yes, I have a wife and I have 4 kids and 2 of them are daughters, but
Yeah.
what are you doing as far as the Femme Fit Society and how did it come about? And, kind of explain it to me, just a guy who's
Yeah.
like, I have no idea.
You know what's funny is that we were at Girls Gone RX Denver this past, I guess, last weekend. And my husband was there and I had a table. I was kind of handing out stickers, just trying to like spread the word about Femme Fit Society. And I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. And he was like, wait, I have to hand out these stickers? He's just a big man. And I came back and I swear to God, he handed out 50 stickers in like 5 minutes. And he said,
Oh yeah.
yeah, this is what my wife is doing. Look it up, because he was the same way. He's like, I know it's something important. I just don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Lindsay Marcelli and I. So Lindsay is the founder of Girls Gone RX. She's also the founder.
Also been on this show.
Yeah, Lindsay is amazing. And so Lindsay and I kind of worked together through her nonprofit, Compete for a Cure. I was kind of just. We randomly met and we just kind of hit it off. And so I really loved her mission and I was looking for just a charitable mission to kind of get involved with. So it was just a perfect fit. Her and I are like same wavelength. We're both like hustlers. We want to kind of be the best at everything. And we both like have that same, when you meet someone and you're thinking, wow, like we would work really well together. That was kind of how it worked with us. So it was super natural. And so we had worked together kind of on the Girls Gone RX side of things, on the Compete for a Cure side of things. And in my head, I had started thinking, hey, like there's so many media outlets out there that focus on specific things, focus on the sport, focus on the news, focus on the community. There's really not a ton for women specifically. So if you think about it, you'll see some great articles every now and again on postpartum content, on like, I talked about this on Nikki's podcast, but like Annie Thorstadter did a great article with Morning Chalk Up a couple of years ago about postpartum depression. But those are all kind of little blips in space where you see it and there's really not like a home for it. Like obviously, like if I'm talking about women related issues on these other ones, it's just a little more narrow of like an audience. So Lindsay and I both kind of separately had that thought of, I wonder if we can make a newsletter specifically geared towards women that are in the fitness space. And it's not just CrossFit. We wanted to kind of hit every kind of fitness. So it was one of those things where it was like, you were thinking it, but you said it. And so Lindsay brought it up and she said, why don't we make our own newsletter? And I was like, why did you say exactly what I've been thinking about for a while? So yeah, I'd love to say that we sat around and planned it for a really long time. And we kind of just said, you know what, let's just do it. And so thus the Femme Fit Society was born. We are on, I want to say we're on like newsletter 17. So we put one out once a week, every Monday morning. We call our readers baddies. And so we're like your weekly dose of baddie energy in your newsletter or in your inbox every week. But
Gotcha.
Honestly, our goal really is to just create an inclusive community for women who are in the fitness space, whether they work in the space, whether they are just interested in fitness, whether they work out all the time, and just have different resources, hear from different people, get some different perspectives, and kind of just have a place for all that content that might be one-off for all these other media outlets to kind of live. We really try to promote female-owned businesses. We try to promote really just women helping women. Like I always say, we're not anti-man, we're just pro-women.
Yeah.
And so that's really kind of what we've tried to create. So we've got our newsletter that goes out every week, but we're also super active on social. We're trying eventually to kind of get into podcasting, which is why I have my nice fancy microphone. But
Yeah, we talked about that. You can start podcasting and
that I had to ask you how to
editing,
use
all that.
before the call started.
No.
But
You talk into it. No, just
I was like, is the button on?
is this thing on? Is this check?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We go down like the YouTube rabbit hole and it's telling you need to have these functions and you're gonna be super. I was overwhelmed. So I did the old, let me just plug it in and ask Wex.
Well, I told you this offline, but this is of course today is the 3-year anniversary of the show. So
happy anniversary.
Thank you for being on the show. And it's
important guest, important milestone. It's okay.
Absolutely. But it's funny because similar to what you're saying is as far as starting, Femme Fit is the same way this started. I was like, man, I should do a podcast. I like podcasts. I think it'd be fun to host a podcast. I should do it. And I talked about it for probably about a year to 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden a buddy of mine started a podcast. And I'm like, how'd you do that? He's like, I literally downloaded an app on my phone. He's like, I sit in my closet. He's like, I sit in my closet with my phone and I record a podcast. I'm like, it doesn't sound like you're sitting in your closet.
You're like, don't tell
on the
people
phone. and he's like, no, dude, it's super simple. He's like, download this app, check it out, and you can do it. And I told you, it was like the first probably 10 episodes. I thought I was talking into a microphone. I mean, I was talking into a microphone, but that microphone apparently wasn't plugged in like I thought it was. So it was just recording on my phone. So the first 10 episodes or so are just me talking into a phone, and that's the audio.
But were you in a closet when you were recording it?
I mean, I was in an office shed.
Oh God.
I was in my he shed. At the house we were at, it had this 2-room office type shed sort of situation in the back that we just converted into a little
man
cave. Yeah. Right. I had all my, posters and stuff up and sports figures and things like that and medals and whatever, and just tried to do a backdrop. And that's how we started the show. Just talking into a phone. And the first, I think the first 6 episodes was just me just talking. And then got the very first guest, which was Margot Alvarez.
Oh, that's so cool.
Who was absolutely amazing. And
good guess for your first one.
Yeah. I mean, you set the bar pretty high when you start with Margot Alvarez.
Yeah.
And she had just come off of finishing second on the NBC Titan Games.
Oh,
and we got to talk to her about all that and coming up in the games, and it just had a great time speaking with her. Actually, I need to call her and have her come back on the show because now she's doing she's doing tactical games, and she's doing all sorts of stuff.
Doesn't she have a business now that she's got a winery or something?
Oh, she's had the winery. Yeah.
That's so cool.
In fact, I ordered bottles of wine for the show so that if we could taste it, do a tasting during the show. So it was so
I love that. I've been meaning to try her wine because I feel like that's super cool.
Oh, it's so good.
Like I said, female-owned business, so
yeah,
I'm supporting it.
Absolutely. Well, when you do the podcast, call up Margot Alvarez and get her on the show. There you go.
Drinking wine on it. That'll be
exactly.
That'll be risky.
she does what is it? She does Wine Down or Earn Your Grapes, I think it is. I can't remember what her exact slogan was.
Yeah.
But it's Earn Your Grapes. So she does the whole workout thing, and then you have a glass of wine at the end, or at the end of the night.
I would work out so much harder if I knew a glass of wine was waiting for me at the end.
Exactly. I mean, you can make that happen.
I mean, we could. My $7 bottle of wine from Costco is probably not as good as her wine, but
it's not. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
her wine is very
confirmed
good.
It's not.
Confirmed. I've had it. But I kept the bottles because the bottles are artwork too. So she told a story about like one of the bottles is a painting that her sister had made. Unfortunately, her sister had passed away. And it
Oh
was
my
like one of the
God.
last. It was
There
like one of
were
the last paintings she had done. So they put that on the bottle. It was
I can
great.
remember seeing a video of, like, maybe it was a recording of a voicemail from her sister,
Mm,
and they did some video about it, and it was one of those where you're scrolling through Instagram and you don't expect to be crying,
yeah,
and then a video stops you and you're like, "I am not in a environment that."
I'm in a coffee shop. Why
You
am
know?
I crying?
I was like, "I am not in a place right now where I should be crying, but
Yeah,
here I am." Yeah, no, that's really cool though. That's awesome, like
yeah.
ode to her sister for sure.
And a buddy of mine has a podcast as well, and he does a lot of videos where it's like people coming back and surprising their loved ones from the military. Like,
Oh,
and I'm just like,
you're like, I honestly, I can remember a time where I would like YouTube videos of homecomings from the military, and it was I guess I just wanted to cry.
just
It's
wrecks you. It just
oh,
wrecks you.
and
And
the dogs, when the
yep.
dogs realize oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's yeah, those videos are
We're really spiraling here.
glutton for punishment with those videos.
Oh, yeah.
There's another guy I follow, MD Motivator.
Oh, I didn't
You've
even know that.
probably seen his videos. He like he'll blindfold himself and hold a sign that says, "If you need a hug, I'm here."
Oh,
People just come up and give him a hug, and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And he just starts talking to him, and then everybody's crying. It's like, oh my gosh.
I mean,
But
even
now he's doing this whole thing where he's just giving money away.
I mean,
So,
I would love to run into him then.
well, he'll run into people in a store, and he'll be like, "Would you like $1,000, or would you like to give it to people in the store?" And, most of his videos, the people are like, "Well, let's give it to somebody in the store." And they'll walk around and hand it to people.
Oh,
And then at the end of the video, he's like, "Because you were so nice, here's like $10,000."
meanwhile, if you were like that one person who was like, "No, I wanna keep it." You're
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
Well,
damn it."
then it probably takes a whole different turn on the video because like, well, why?
Yeah,
What's going on with you?
yeah.
That you want to keep it. And there have been videos like that where it's like, "Hey, times are tough. I need it."
You know, it's
And
just
it's like,
so funny because, like, I think about even just coaching and, like, the amount of times that I've been coaching and walked up to an athlete and just asked them, like, genuinely, "Hey, how are you?" And had people just break down in tears
oh,
because
yeah.
people just don't ask because they wanna know.
Yeah.
And it's just yeah, it's so funny, just you someone genuinely asking and caring, all of a sudden you're just like
So, yeah. So we're going to turn this into like a crying show here.
Yeah.
It's gonna-
Wex, you wanted to cry for your 3-year anniversary,
yeah.
right?
Why do we? Yeah. We gotta, we're Femme Fit. We're going to get all into our emotions here. And
Which is so funny because, like, I'm so not, like, a super emotional person, so
yeah.
we've really taken a turn.
The, so, talking about like, kind of some of the stuff that you're doing,
Mhm,
with the website and, with social media and the stories and things that you're telling.
mhm.
Obviously, there's a lot of emotion behind it. There is, all those sorts of, the stories and things like that. What are some things that you've seen even since starting it that have kind of been like, yeah, this is why we're here? Like, have you had any of those moments yet where you've gotten feedback and people have been, kind of talking to you about the content?
Yeah, so, I mean, we've definitely done a lot as far as, like, fertility issues. Lindsay and I both have had miscarriages. I've had multiple at this point. And so I wrote an article kind of just about my experience, went pretty in depth, and it was very vulnerable, raw, just
Mhm.
actual what I was feeling at the time. And it was really therapeutic, obviously, for me to be able to write that. But it's so risky when you are about to publish something like that. It's literally like when you're a kid in middle school, like writing in your diary and then like opening it up to the world.
Yeah.
Um, Also, fun fact, my 2 best friends at my wedding read my diary as part of their maid of honor speeches. So if
Nice.
they're listening, I hate you both still. But Yeah, it was so funny. They literally read out one of the guys I had a crush on, and his mom is really good friends with my dad, and she was there and was like, "I texted him." I was like, "That's so cool. That's so
That's
embarrassing." Thank
great. That's
you.
amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, but anyway, so, yeah, before I published it, it was just one of those things where when you're publishing, especially about something that has to do with your mental health, something that has to do with obviously something that's just and I didn't want people to read it and think, "Oh, wow, she's crazy."
Mhm.
But the reaction was just amazing. I had so many people that DM'd our account, DM'd me personally and said, "Hey, I just had a miscarriage a couple days ago. This is exactly what I needed to hear."
Yeah.
And so even just one DM, I was like, "Okay, every effort that we've put in so far is worth it now." And
Yeah.
now any effort we put forth covering different things, like, we wanna talk about postpartum mental health, we wanna talk about menopause, we wanna talk about being a woman who's prioritizing your fitness while also wanting to have a family, and just those specific things that people might be struggling with internally and behind closed doors, but
Mhm.
just to have people read an article and think, "Wow, someone else is going through exactly what I'm going through," and be that relatable kind of content that they can look at and think, "Oh, there's something for everybody in what you're going through." That's kind of the ultimate goal, and as
Yeah.
we put out more content, as we, like, trying to work on getting some more, like, professional advisors to kinda help with guiding some of our articles, because obviously I'm not a doctor, I'm not
Mhm.
a therapist, I'm not a pelvic floor specialist, so we've been trying to kind of rope some people like that in that can give medical, emotional kind of advice, and
Mhm.
so having that all kind of live in one place and just having those resources available for people, I just think about, like, the first time I had a miscarriage, I didn't even know where to go for any kind of support, any kind of, what now kind of
Yeah.
articles, and so it was really cool to be able to create something that I knew, "Hey, if me a year ago read this, I would have felt less alone." And so the reactions from people after that were so cool, and it was just something where Lindsay and I looked at each other and we went, "Yeah, we're doing the right thing."
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and I will say this for the guys that
mhm,
are listening as well. I don't want to just I wouldn't necessarily say to just classify it just for women. I mean, some of your content, of course, would be just specifically
mhm,
for women, but as a husband, and this is a little known fact about us. We have 4 kids, but though that's not the little known fact, but in between our 2 oldest and our 2 youngest, we actually had 2 miscarriages.
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
And the first one was actually very late term. So it
okay.
was like 14, 15 weeks. We
Oh,
were
geez.
literally that week going in to find out the gender. And we're just there for our, normal routine checkup.
Mhm,
And as a guy, you know, there's a loss, but I have no idea what is going through, the mind of my wife. And as
yeah,
much as I can ask her and, as much as she can tell me, it's still is not something that you can put yourself in her shoes.
mhm,
So, as a guy, I think it would be very important also to look at the content and be like, okay, well, maybe I need to read this and, figure out what my wife is, where she's at in a headspace, even if she can't be in a place to tell me where she's at,
mhm.
be able to look at someone else and somehow kind of
Yeah, like, educate
like,
yourself on what
yeah.
yeah, and I think too, I think about a lot, like, obviously my husband's perspective. You're not the one physically going through it, but you're also watching this person you love physically have to deal with this. You're emotionally grieving as well, but
Mhm.
you're also like, I just remember my husband, which honestly, if you have a partner who does this for you, like, you've hit the jackpot. Like, did not even think about his own feelings, just was always, "Are you okay? Are you okay? What can I do for you?" And
Mhm.
it's so hard because for you guys, you are also that's your loss too. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, stuff like that where you can kind of at least have a glimpse into what maybe is happening. But yeah, like I would love to see more resources for men as well in that situation because talk about women don't know what to do. Men really don't know what to do when
Oh,
it
yeah.
comes to that.
Well, and we alluded to how the gym is kind of that safe space,
Mhm.
and it became that safe space for me in that moment as well,
Mhm.
because I remember I think I actually PR'd my back squat right after all that happened. I'm like, I just need to go to the gym and just kind of let some
Yeah.
things out. And I remember, like loading the bar, throwing it on my back, doing the back squat, grabbing a towel, throwing it over my head, sitting in the corner and just stopping.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's, that's what I'm, and
Yeah.
the coaches were just, they were super cool. Just kind of, they understood what was going on,
Mhm.
just kind of left me on my own. Came over to check on me and things like that, but, knew that I just kind of needed to, go through it and deal with things as they were.
Yeah.
And, it was really cool to have that type of space. And, we talk about CrossFit as far as the community and things like that, but don't feel like I would even I don't feel like going to a Globo gym, I would be comfortable with that,
No.
or going anywhere else. But, going to a CrossFit gym because it is that family, it is that community, it is, these are the people that literally share blood, sweat, and tears with, whether
Mhm.
it's because you're crying because of a workout or crying because of
Yeah, yeah.
something
There's tears
emotional that's going
regardless.
on. There's tears regardless. Many times blood, a lot of times sweat.
Yes.
And you're going through life with these people. Whereas, like, I was in a, I'm like I said, I'm in Miami today, for business.
Mhm.
And this morning I went to a, like a Globo gym, and it was fine. It was great, but no way would I feel,
They just
comfortable,
feel like the crazy guy's
anywhere
crying
comfortable.
in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did that guy just back squat
Yeah.
a whole bunch and just started crying in the corner? And they're like, this is just
Yeah.
weird.
It's actually funny you say that because, like, even on the flip side of it, when I came back from having for some reason, like, my first miscarriage, I think I just, like, was like, "I'm fine," and I went right back to coaching, right back to, like, working out, probably a little sooner than I should have.
Yeah.
The second time, that was the space that I was so scared to go back to because of that, like, close, tight-knit, like, all these people know I'm going through it, like, they're
Yeah.
all gonna look at me and just wanna hug me, but I'm like, "If you hug me, I will cry,"
Yeah.
and it was just it was so funny because all the guys at the gym were, like, the ones that were, like they couldn't even help it. They'd just come up and, like, give me a hug, like a little side hug, but they'd be like, "I just, like, physically can't not give you this hug."
Yeah.
But it's funny because, yeah, like, that you go through it with those people and you build those bonds, and, like, when somebody's down, especially being a coach, you're there for so many people. So when people see that something's happening to you, all they want to do is repay you for all the kind things you've done for them and all the things that you've helped them with. But it's unfortunate when yeah, there's really not much anyone can do. But I will say that getting back to the gym and getting back to that sense of normalcy, I'm the same way. I wanna work through it physically as well, and
Yeah.
what's hard is that obviously after that happens, you can't work out for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, you're already in that headspace, you're already like, "Oh my god, I am losing it," but now my stress relief and my, like, just world is kind of flipped upside down.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's even just stupid stuff like that where you need somebody to tell you you're not crazy, you just need to work out kind of thing, like, that's the
Yeah.
type of content we try to kinda pull together for
Like,
Femme
just get
Fit.
in, just move,
Yeah,
and, just do something. Just
yeah,
kind of, get the wheels turning and get going, somewhere else, and just
yeah.
kind of be in a different place.
We started with candy, and now we're just both crying, it's
I know, right? It's like, "Oh, man, this is such an emotional."
Oh my god. We're like, anyway.
Anyways, yeah, so how about Texas?
quick swerve.
Yeah, quick swerve. No, but I think it's very important that people, really dive into it and see both sides of the coin of, what's going on. And for guys to actually, look at the content too and be like, you know what, I'm, and like we had said, like, you came back and you're like, I'm fine, I'm fine. Clearly not.
Yes.
And I don't mean that in a criticism at all, but we do that all the time
No,
where it's like,
absolutely.
oh, I'm fine, I'm okay.
Mhm.
But clearly you're not. And if you are going through that with somebody, being able to see the perspective of someone that is going through, that has already gone through it, you can kind of
Mhm.
understand maybe a little bit more about what your partner's going through. So I think it's
See,
cool.
Femme
I think
Fit
it's
Society is for
something
the
that
guys out there too.
it's for the dudes
It's
too.
for the dudes. We'll throw a
Not
bone to the
really.
dudes every now and again.
Not I mean, not exclusively, but you can learn. You can learn things everywhere.
It's
So
funny because our 2 biggest fans are, my husband and Lindsay's husband, because they both
yeah.
just read the content and go, "Wow, guys, that was a great article." And it's just funny. I'm like, "Yeah, PRing on your period, that was a good one." Like
Well, not only is my wife, and she's gone through it.
Yeah, 4
As
kids,
far
she's
as
been through it.
well, no, so kind of pulling back the layers of the onion with that, the
Mhm.
4 kids, of course, the 2 miscarriages as well,
Yeah.
and all that. But on top of that, this past year, she's gone through a lot of surgeries.
Oh,
Um, so did you? I think we may have. Did you go to Wadapalooza last year?
yes.
I think we may have run into each other, but I don't think we knew each other yet.
Probably not. Yeah.
But my wife was there at
Mhm.
Wadapalooza last year, and she was running around with my second daughter, who
Mhm.
is a CrossFit junkie. And
Oh, yeah, I follow her on Instagram.
yes, so you follow her on Instagram. So yeah.
Yeah.
So my wife, when she went to Wadapalooza last year, and a lot of people don't know this, she was exactly 1 month to the day, and actually had a procedure that morning of follow up for a full double mastectomy and reconstruction.
Oh my goodness.
Because she had the BRCA2 gene. So it's not the if you're going to get cancer, it's when.
Oh gosh.
Basically, it's a, I don't know how much you know about it, but it's a gene that basically you're going to get breast cancer. It's just a matter of when. So the
Yeah.
only way to prevent it is to do, what she's done, or at least, greatly reduce the odds of getting
Mhm.
breast cancer, is to have a full double mastectomy and reconstruction.
Mhm.
So she, obviously had both her breasts removed, and then they cut her from hip to hip, pulled out tissue from her stomach, put it back into her breast so that it would all be, done naturally.
Mhm.
And literally 1 month to the day, she was in Miami at Wadapalooza running around chasing a 10-year-old. She's
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 a
she's a
strong
beast.
woman. Yeah.
Yeah, she is awesome.
Mhm.
Um, but like she's been through so much when it comes to like surgeries and things like that, that now trying to get back into a routine with, physical activity, like you said, it's like there's only so much she can do. So it's been
Yeah.
hard. But we're talking about some different things, as you know, with Thunder Bro. So we're talking about possibly doing, some stuff with her as well to kind of,
Yeah.
you know, help her, kind of figure out all that, because, she also had a full hysterectomy the year before,
Oh my goodness.
because of PCOS, polycystic ovary disease.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like she's just turned 40 this year,
And
and
has already had so many
already,
procedures and
having to
things
go through
happen.
full menopause, and like
Oh my goodness.
early onset and all that sort of thing. So she's
Yeah.
going through all these different changes and life changes,
Mhm.
and it's important for her as well to have a place to, find information.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that she's very diligent about, is going and looking and seeking out information. It was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. Okay, what works? What doesn't work?
Yeah, and being your
What's
own
next? What's
health
this?
advocate. Yeah, educating yourself on what your options are, and I feel
Yeah,
like the internet can be a scary place when it comes to that. There's so many different conflicting things. Yeah, I think PCOS is something I wanna dive into a lot deeper too, because I've talked to a lot of people who have that, and
yeah,
it's definitely something I feel like even as a woman, I didn't know a lot about until I had a friend who had it. Um, and
That's
kind of
horrible. Yeah.
I mean, the fertility issues that can come from it, even just the pain, and
Yeah.
it is something that one of those many things that I'm like, "Why aren't we talking about this?"
Yeah. Well, and it's one of those things like when her and I first met, we've been together, we got married in '07. So we've been
Mhm.
married for 15, 16 years,
A hot minute.
a little bit. It's been a bit.
Been a minute.
But we've been together, even longer than that.
Mhm.
Literally over half our lives, together. We met when we were like, she's 2 years younger than me, so I was 22, she was 20.
Mhm.
And obviously she just turned 40, so I mean, half her life and half my
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
together. And when we first met, I remember going to the doctor with her, earlier in our relationship before we actually got married, and the doctor was like, "Yeah, you'll never have kids." I'm like, "Well, you need to sue that guy.
My god.
Send him the bill for our 4."
Right?
But
Send him a Christmas card every year.
yeah, send him a
You
Christmas
said we
card. He's
couldn't
like, "Hey,
have these.
remember those kids we couldn't have? Here they
Gosh.
are."
Like,
But
how about a little bedside manner? I
oh,
mean,
he was awful. He was awful. She was not. I mean, her and I both, we carry a little bit of weight. We've never been like super skinny or thin, but like this guy
same.
was like, "You're obese." I'm like, she's not obese.
Cool,
Like,
tell her she's obese and then tell her she can't have children. Like, do you wanna
yeah,
just, like, go kick her puppy too while you're at it?
right.
Like,
So he was a horrible doctor. Like I wanted to punch him, but
gosh.
it's things like that. They told us she never have kids, and then when we finally did have our first kid, it was like a shock. That we were
Yeah,
having a
miracle.
kid,
Yeah.
and then 4 years later we had our second daughter, and then we're like, okay, well, I guess we're fine. And then the 2 miscarriages happened. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, this is going to be tough. And then the third, we actually, we did some, fertility things as well,
Mhm.
and ended up getting pregnant with our third, which was our first boy.
Oh, yay.
And then the fourth one was complete accident. She changed medications, and yeah, basically
Hey.
her birth control didn't work, and the fourth one's here, and
Hey.
now we can't see our lives without him. But at the time, it was
Surprise.
like, oh crap, surprise.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's just been through, so many things. So, one of the things she's always been very diligent about is finding resources and finding other
Mhm.
people and reaching out. So those are some things that we're going to try and, work through here in the next little bit. She just had surgery a few months ago. She had a hernia, which was causing her stomach to go into her esophagus.
Oh, and then would she get really bad heartburn from that?
Very bad heartburn and
Oh
acid
god.
reflux. But like times 1,000, like
Yeah.
not like normal acid reflux
Not like you
or
ate marinara and have to take some Tums kind of snack.
exactly. So the worst pain possible.
Oh.
So what they had to do is basically they did laparoscopic surgery. They went through her stomach, pulled her,
Mhm.
or went through. I have to differentiate. They went through her belly to get her stomach, her actual physical stomach,
Mhm.
and pull it back down. But because it was up into the esophagus area, all the other organs just kind of moved in. So
Yeah,
basically, you had to just rearrange everything, pull the stomach
just
down,
like
and so
Tetris in there, yeah.
yeah. So
God,
she's dealing with that as well. So I mean, it's a lot, and she has been a champ. She has been an absolute champ with it.
mhm.
And one of those people is like, you never see her sweat, but then I do.
Yeah,
So
you don't know behind
helping her,
closed doors, yeah.
yeah. So trying to help her walk through it and deal with the frustration of having to figure things out. And, okay, well, this is going to work. Okay, this is not working. This is working.
Yeah.
And now being able to eat certain things again because she was on a liquid diet for like 4 weeks,
Mhm.
which was awful.
Oh god.
Yeah.
No. Yeah,
So, I mean, you're doing, broths and,
I
soft
couldn't
foods and
even
things
do,
like
like,
that.
a meal replacement shake for one of my meals a day, let alone
No. And,
only
and she couldn't because it would mess her stomach up so bad. Like the
yeah.
protein shakes just don't work. So, yeah,
Yeah,
it's been a lot of trial and error trying to,
and that's so hard because
navigate.
you feel like you finally recover, you finally get back to a point of feeling like yourself again, and obviously with, like, these kind of things all just happening like one after another. It's so hard to get back, feel like you're finally feeling like yourself again, and then take like 5 steps backwards.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, but honestly, your wife sounds like a superhero, and she's also a mom of 4 kids, and something about those moms, man, they are
Yeah.
just so resilient, and, like, I know for a fact I don't even know your wife, I know for a fact she was probably still doing above and beyond in the mom game while
Oh,
she
yeah. Yeah, like the
having
whole
surgeries, having
you're
this.
not supposed to pick up 10 pounds.
Yeah,
Yeah, my kid is 30.
I was gonna say,
She's
child
yeah,
probably a little heavier. Yeah.
yep.
Oh,
So she's, moving and doing things and,
yeah.
now getting back into fitness and things like that. So
Mhm.
it's been an interesting road, but having, the resources and things to be able to like reach out to people and talk to people about different things that are going on has been just amazing.
Yeah.
So that's, a big thing as far as, support,
Mhm.
having a support system. And I mean, really the whole thing with the BRCA2 and the cancer gene is that she didn't know that she had it until she had gotten a DNA test.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I mean, yeah, how would you unless you do?
the DNA test, so it's something that a lot of people don't talk about, and maybe, something that you want to look at is
Yeah.
that people don't talk about the BRCA2 gene. And doctors don't test for it unless you specifically ask them to test for it. And it's one of those things that is literally a life or death sort of thing, because
Yeah.
if you catch it beforehand, you can do so much preventatively to not get
Versus
breast cancer and have to go through all the chemo, the radiation, and
mhm.
all that. I mean, yes, you still have to go through the surgery, but you don't have to go through all the after effects of what cancer does.
Yeah,
And
and catching it early before it turns into
yeah,
cancer. I mean,
I mean, I'm also a very strong proponent to. I've seen what cancer treatment does, and it's almost worse than cancer itself. My father passed away of cancer,
oh,
and I watched him, just basically decay, and go through all the radiation. And this is back in the
yeah.
'90s, so I mean, this the treatment was nowhere near what it is now,
Mhm.
but it was brutal just to see how sick he got from the treatment, just from the treatment of
Supposed to be
trying to get
making him
healthy.
better, yeah.
Yeah, it is supposed to be making you better, but you're gonna be deathly sick for X amount of time until we do it, and
Yeah.
it's still
Yeah,
it
I
didn't.
mean, and that's the thing, like, catching it early, like, that's honestly one of the reasons why I got involved with Compete for a Cure, because I think so many people don't screen for those things, don't yeah, you go to your yearly, but you the rest of the year, whatever. But, like, thinking about
But
your wife, if she didn't
but
take
even
the
with
DNA
that
test yeah,
but even with that, yes, you can screen and do the mammograms and do all that, but that's only to see if you get it.
100%. Yeah.
That's not to look at if you have even the possibility, like a
Yeah.
higher chance of getting it because of something that's going on in your body that's genetic.
Mhm.
And the only reason she found out about it is because, like I said, she took the DNA test, but not because of the DNA test. The DNA test actually connected her with somebody on her father's side of the family who there's no contact with her father's side of the family,
Okay.
and like his sister or cousin or whatever, was connected through this, 23andMe DNA
Mhm.
test,
Yeah.
and said, "Hey, I know you don't know me. I don't know you, but we're family. And this isn't us trying to, have any contact or anything like that. But I
Yeah.
just want you to know that, like 3 people have died from breast cancer in our family because of this. And like these 2 have fought it. And, like basically everybody in the family's gotten it. So
Yeah.
so get checked." And she got
Mhm.
checked and realized that she had it and, was able to preventatively do all that. But
And
it was
she got a DNA test, and they didn't tell her that?
well, the DNA test just I mean, it's one of like the 23andMe,
Yeah, like,
like
general kind
just
of
a general, "Oh, you're from, you're 10%
Mhm.
this nationality or this nationality." But
Yeah.
what it also does is it connects you with other people in your family, and
Okay, so it's not
that's what yeah, that's what the DNA test did is that it basically connected her to somebody in the family, and the family reached out and told her to get checked.
Yeah.
And then she pushed the issue with her doctor to do the genetic testing, because it's genetic testing that shows that,
I'm
which
all
isn't
too
routine.
familiar with genetic testing at this point.
Yeah. But so many people aren't, and they don't even know to ask for it, and it's not routine, so the doctors don't recommend it. And it's so important to know the genetic markers, of what you're predisposed to be fighting, because
Yeah.
so many people fighting, this is men and women, are fighting so many things in their body that they don't even know about. They're like, oh, why can't I ever lose weight? Oh, because you have X, Y, and Z. Why
Yeah.
can't I gain weight? Because you have X, Y, and knowing how to specifically tailor your fitness, tailor your diet, tailor
Mhm.
all these things to create what it is that you want to do.
Mhm.
And we get in our way so many times just because we're not informed and we don't know. So that's
Yeah.
that was one of the biggest things, is that, people don't get tested for, for it. And especially women, it's obviously prevalent more in women than men,
Mhm.
that, to get checked and say, hey, this is something important, that you need to push the fact with your doctor. And she pushed it with her doctor. And I think it went back to, do you have a history in your family? She's like, yes, here's the history now. And, kind of built on from that.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of sucks, is because I only have had genetic testing done because obviously with fertility issues and with kind of looking at what could be going wrong, then they push you to get genetic testing. But
Sure.
I've never had a doctor be a proponent of, hey, let's just check in on some things. Let's see what you kind of could run a risk for. And
Yeah.
obviously, there's a cost that comes with it, and there's companies you can look into like on your own. But to have, breast cancer runs in my family as well.
Yeah.
And I've never had a doctor tell me to do any of the testing that your wife had to ask for.
Yeah.
And so that to me is, why aren't we more more concerned about this?
Oh,
Why?
absolutely.
Yeah. And I think too, you think about, gosh, like your wife's family member potentially saved her life by telling
Yes.
her that.
Yeah.
And that's insane to think that I don't know. The universe works in crazy ways. To
It
think
does.
that she did a 23andMe, which I only ever hear about because I listen to a lot of true crime and lots of people be getting caught because of 23andMe.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
we always joke, like, my husband and I, if we do it, which one of our family members is a murderer that they're gonna catch because of it. But, so, like, if she hadn't done that, then she wouldn't have gotten in touch with this person. They wouldn't have told her this. Like, who knows what could have happened? That's crazy.
Yeah. So that throws me on a whole different tangent now. So there's a side quest that
Uh-huh.
you need to do.
Okay.
Why? This is gonna sound funny, but you probably identify with it. Just given what you just said. Why do so many women find peace and tranquility in murder shows?
It is
What is the science here of
I you
the
know,
sweet sound of murder that lulls my wife to sleep every night?
I don't
Um,
really know, and what's kind of funny is that my husband consistently tells the people he works with, "If I ever go missing, it's her."
yep.
And he's a cop. I was like, "Babe, you can't tell people that. They're gonna really think I'm trying to hurt you. I just like to listen to true crime." It's the same way, like, I'm just deathly afraid of sharks. I won't even go in the ocean past my knees. I'm just convinced that the sea is not something I'm gonna F with. Like,
Yeah.
Mother Nature is a beast, and I will not mess with her. And if I go in the ocean, odds of me getting bit by a shark are probably a 9 out of 10. That's just my logic. I'll watch Jaws all day. You feed your fear. But I also feel like, well, there most of the time, there really ain't men out there getting murdered. Yes, men do get murdered, but
Yeah.
obviously, majority of the time when we listen to those podcasts, shocker, it's a woman.
Sure.
And it's almost like a what not to do kind of scenario.
Uh-huh.
But one that got me once, that I had to take a break for a little bit. It was this lady on Crime Junkie, and she was a fitness coach, and she
Uh-huh.
was early morning in, like, some church that she ran classes out of, and she was murdered before her whole class got there, and they came in and they found her, and I
Oh
remember my
gosh.
best friend listened to it first because naturally she's also a sicko and likes to listen to, I mean, like you said, all of us women are out here scaring ourselves, and she was like, "Hey, don't listen to this one." So naturally, what did I do? I
You're gonna
stopped
go
what I
listen
was
to it.
doing and I went and listened. And then she said, "Hey, don't watch the video that they posted with it." And I said, "Okay, I'm immediately gonna watch this video." And
Yeah.
it is this guy
Don't tell me what to do.
lurking
Yeah.
through this, like, they found the guy on video. He had some weird, like, mask on. He
Uh-huh.
is lurking through this building trying to find her. For months, so I coach 5:30 AM, Tuesday, Thursday. I
Yep.
am in a warehouse by myself in this creepy driveway, and I was just convinced I was gonna be murdered for, I mean, it was at least 6 months that I would have my little knife in my fanny pack that I bring.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because if you get stabbed by someone with a fanny pack, it's, like, way more intimidating, but
Oh, of course.
yeah, and any noise, I was like, "Well, here he is, he's coming to get me," but
Yeah.
it is just a guilty pleasure, I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is. Like, my wife absolutely loves murder shows, all
Yeah,
the true crime shows, all the, stalker, all that stuff.
yeah,
And
it's
there's some episodes, like, because she'll fall asleep to it on the TV, and there's sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night, I'm like, "Nope, I gotta change I gotta turn this off. I gotta put
You're
on,
like,
like"
"I am scared."
not scared, just disturbed. Like there are
Yeah,
some of them that are like, I can so whatever, I can handle the adult ones. It's when they start, like, like, killing off the kids and the family and all that, and I'm like, "Nope.
yeah.
Nope, 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 nope."
I think it changes when you have kids because
Yeah,
now all of a sudden you're like, "Wow, people like this exist out there, this is real. I'm never letting you leave the house again."
exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
It gets a little too close to home with that kinda stuff. It's like, "Oof,
yeah.
nope."
I
Um,
now exclusively listen to ones that are solved because if it's unsolved, I just get mad.
yeah.
So, I'm like,
Well
"Nope, I need justice."
Well, there's a great podcast that you need to go listen to. I listened to it years ago, probably like 6, 7 years ago. It's called S Town.
Why does that sound so familiar? I feel like I've heard of it. I didn't
You
listen to
may
it
have
though.
it's S Town. It's like a 8 or 9 episode series, and
Mhm,
it's really, really good. I actually went
yeah,
back and listened to it again,
okay,
but it's really good. It's kind of mystery, true crime, very interesting.
okay.
So, yeah, go check that one out.
I'll be
But
binging that very soon.
yes. So, what are your plans going forward this year? I mean, I know are you going to Rogue?
Yeah, I'll be at
Ro
Rogue.
Be at
Mhm.
Rogue?
It's
Are
my
you
first time going to Rogue. I'm super excited.
I'm not going this year. Maybe next
Yeah,
year. Once we yeah. But, I can only take so many trips. So, and
yeah,
Wadapalooza is the big one for me. Well, the games are the big one for me.
mhm.
But Wadapalooza is like I have responsibilities at Wadapalooza, so, I run the podcast
I really
stage
feel
and
like
things like that.
there's not a huge gap between Rogue and Wadapalooza. It feels like it comes pretty quick.
October, November,
Like
December, January. Yeah, I mean,
like, it's
and you
at the
got
end of October and then right at the beginning of January. I feel
and then
like
you
they
got
come up quick.
Dubai shoved in the middle
Yeah,
in December. I think December is Dubai.
I think so. 'Cause there's Dubai, there's the Down Under
Oh, yep, Down Under.
Championship. Um, I know I'm forgetting one. Yeah, I we all just need a giant calendar of the off-season comps
Yeah.
because every time I think I know all of them, all of a sudden another one pops up that people are like, "Oh, you didn't know about that?"
You didn't know
No,
you
I
can go?
didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Well, Wadapalooza is gonna be a big one, this year. It's getting even bigger. Wadapalooza is gonna be the things that I know, Wadapalooza
You're
is gonna be
like,
fantastic this
"And
year.
I can't tell you."
And
Yeah,
I should stop talking now. But Wadapalooza is gonna be bigger and better this
yeah.
year. Some of the improvements that are being made that they've even already talked about as far as, like, seating and tickets
Yeah, I
and
think
the
they
way that's gonna
definitely need
go.
made like some announcements saying that kind of they took the feedback that people have given in the past and really ran with it, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Like I love to see people actually asking for feedback and then capitalizing on that.
Yeah.
So often it's
I,
just like a yeah, we heard you, like whatever. But
I will be back on the podcast stage and hosting the podcast stage at Wadapalooza.
whoop,
Very exciting. Some big news coming from that as well, which we can't really announce yet. But I've teased it, a little bit. So stay tuned on the social medias and all that sort of stuff, because there's some big things coming out of Wadapalooza this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. And also, we've got Wadapalooza in September. So we've got 2
crazy.
Wadapaloozas next year.
Crazy.
Going to California. So I will probably be there. Which means I'll probably skip Rogue again because I can't do so
You're
many
like, and
trips.
I'm destined to never go to Rogue.
You know the part about the 4 kids and the wife that is a champ and stays at home with them while I'm off gallivanting the country chasing my CrossFit dreams.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
She's holding it down, but she's like,
She
don't
is.
you get too crazy.
Oh man, I paid for the games for a while.
I mean, and like, I don't know. I love Wadapalooza so much. Like, I love it because Miami is just such a great city. It's such cool vibes, but I'm really
It's the All-Star
excited.
game. It's the All-Star game.
It is, and it's fun. Like, I tell
Yeah.
people when I work with brands, I tell brands, if you're gonna go to a competition, go to Wadapalooza because
Yep.
it's such a it's a fitness festival as
Yes.
opposed to all like these other competitions. Obviously, the focus is the competition. That's the same with Wadapalooza, but people just go there for the experience of the entire thing, not just to watch people compete. And I feel like as a brand, to me, I would want people who are wanting to interact with vendors and wanting to do the fun spectator stuff and just, yeah, it's such a cool energy. So I'm excited to see how it's recreated in California.
Yeah. It'll be very interesting to see what happens in California and how
Mhm.
that shakes out. But Miami this year is going to be just the footprint's even bigger. Like it's going to be legit.
I already booked
And
my room.
yeah, so did I. Did I? No, because I'm thinking it's going to be. I think it's already.
Yeah. Well, speaking of spouses holding it down, normally my husband stays home and watches the dogs, and he's very cranky that he is not coming with me to Rogue. He is not a happy camper. But I told him that he can come to Miami this year. So,
Well, my daughter is kind of on the in between whether or not she's going to be able to come.
ooh.
She's not going to be happy if she can't.
You're like, I'm too scared to tell her if she can't.
Well, so we had to have a conversation, my wife and I, because she's the one that has to like. I'm working, so she's the one that has to like chase her around and stuff like that. I'm like, it's
Mhm.
not my call. I'll back you up on whatever you say,
Yeah.
but like I'm working, I'm doing other things. I don't mind if she comes, but I know it's a lot on you. So that's kind of where it's at. But
It's
what was the number one question I was asked at the CrossFit Games by Danny Spiegel, Amanda Barnhart, Fisa Gaffi, and everybody else that knows her?
Mhm.
So where's Stella? Where's Stella at? I'm like, yeah. Everybody was asking where she was. Like literally the first question I got from all the games athletes, where's Stella?
You should probably
So-
just like change your name to like Stella's manager or something.
Actually, that's Danny. When I talked to Danny Spiegel, she was like, "You should just lead with your Stella's dad."
Yeah. Like
I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
let's not give people your name here. Let's just
Yeah.
tell them who you really are. Stella's dad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was fun though. She definitely wants to come to the games, but that's gonna be a big trip.
Yeah.
Obviously, we got to see how Fort Worth is gonna be. That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
We haven't even scratched anything on that. But thoughts on Texas this year?
I'm excited because I feel like there's so much in that area, even just for spectators to be able to, go out after the games, be able to have a lot to see. Just feel like it's a very built up area. Obviously, the question we all have is kind of the heat, and we know that
Yeah.
most of it's going to be indoors. I I guess for me, as someone who's always kind of worked with brands and worked with sponsors, my question is always about layout. Like
Yeah.
I want to know that people who are investing and going as a vendor, as whatever level of participation they want to have, that they're going to get the most foot traffic, they're going to get the most value out of it for what they pay. And so I'm curious to see kind of what that will look like. Obviously, that's something that we see very close to the games actually happening.
Yeah.
But for me, it's if it's all indoors and there's a way that you can have people walking by vendors and being a little more interactive with them as opposed to just kind of having them off to the side. I think that's a really cool, like, win-win for everybody. But
Now, what I will say is it looks like it has a lot of what's the word? Like they do rodeos and things there.
okay,
So it looks like there's a lot of pavilion space.
awesome. Yeah.
So that's good when it comes to like the vendors and things like that.
Mhm.
So it looks like there is like, and this is all just like satellite views and like things around it, but it looks like there's a lot
Yeah.
of pavilion space because they do a lot of livestock and stuff there.
Mhm.
So it has a potential of having some big areas. What
Yeah.
I'd like to see, if we're talking about the heat, and that's a big conversation, and we're
Mhm.
talking about putting things indoors, outdoors. You know what? Let's flip it. Let's do the daytime stuff indoors, and then that giant football stadium that's right next to it that has, and I think I looked up the capacity. The capacity was like, I want to say 13 to 15,000 people.
Mhm.
Pack the football stadium and do something under the lights.
Oh, that would just be
Be amazing.
energy all-time high.
Oh yeah. You do an outdoor under the lights, Friday night lights,
This is
legit Friday night lights. So
this is such the hard part though, and you know this because you're in Florida. It doesn't cool down that much at night.
no, but you also know, yes, it's hot, but it's
Yeah,
not sun blazing down on you hot.
100%. I think definitely obviously you take the sun out of the equation, it's gonna be different.
Yeah. So
I just know that if we're talking about Madison, Wisconsin, and people are passing out from the heat, we we ain't
yeah.
messed with Texas yet, like
Yes. Absolutely. So
Yeah, and I feel like
we'll see how it plays out.
and I feel like athletes are gonna have to get there a lot earlier than they might in Madison because acclimating to that weather, if you're not used to it, I don't know, I could see that being a factor. Like, I would never wanna if there was an outdoor event, if I was an athlete, I would wanna feel used to the climate. Like, I think about, gosh, when I was in Madison, I did a workout with the Mayhem team out in their little setup in the
Oh yeah.
campgrounds.
So did I. Yep.
Yeah, it was awesome out there, I loved it.
Oh yeah.
And everyone that I worked out with was like, "Huh, this is weird, you're not sweating." I said, "In Charleston, I sweat walking from my car into the gym because it's so humid." And so just even the temperature changes from being in the same country, traveling to different parts. If you think about someone who's like, I grew up in New Jersey. If I went from New Jersey to Texas and went outside and said, "Okay, ready to compete," I would
Yeah.
have died.
So you're in Charleston?
Yeah, I'm in Charleston,
Oh,
South Carolina.
you're not that far from us then.
No, not that far. Yeah.
Actually, I drove through Charleston just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, no way. Did you see
We
me?
yeah, no. Yeah, 5:30 in the morning in the class with the
Oh my
bathroom.
god, stop. Worst fear unlocked. I told everybody my worst fear. People are gonna mess with me.
Yeah, especially with Halloween coming around. We've got we have an event at our gym. I go to Tier 1 CrossFit in Ocala,
Mhm.
and we have an event called Total Terror, and it's a lifting event, but we all dress up in like
Oh, that's so
it's all based around
fun.
Halloween. So like we'll all dress up in costumes and do either the CrossFit Total or the other Total
Yeah.
are the two competitions, and it's
Oh, that's
based off
awesome.
it's all based off Wilks scoring.
Mhm.
So it's body weight versus actual weight moved,
Yeah.
and it's a percentage based. So somebody who's heavy and can lift a lot, it's
Isn't gonna blow
balanced.
everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
As a
balanced. It's not just total weight. So
as a big B out here, I'd be like, "Dang it."
Yeah.
Like, my numbers are way less impressive now.
I know. But then you throw
Yeah.
my daughter in the mix and, she's got a 100-pound back squat, 125-pound deadlift, and she's 75 pounds. So it's all
This
gravy
is
for
why you're
her.
Stella's dad.
This
I
is why I'm
mean,
Stella's dad.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
So she's out there killing it. But Kelly, thank you so much coming
Thank
on the show
you.
and doing this. And tell everybody how they can follow you and how they can follow Femme Fit Society, and you get in contact and all
Yeah,
the social stuff.
all the fun stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, you guys can check us out on our website, femmefitsociety.com. You can also catch us on Instagram at FemmeFitSociety. And we've got tons of pop-ups on our website to subscribe. You can also subscribe at the link in our bio. If you felt like following my account, it's not as cool as FemmeFit Society's, but it's at Stronger with Kelly. But yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. This is super fun.
Absolutely. And I won't see you at Rogue, but definitely see you in Miami
Miami.
for Wadapalooza, which I'm right down the road from there right now. But
That's right.
it's work. So, but thank you so much for coming on the show, and we'll talk soon for sure.
Awesome.
Awesome.